to take something and by putting a frame around something, of course, you make it special. So if I take a concept, any concept, like and in generally maybe just one word, and I put that on a piece of paper, and the first thing is it won't be in a language that most people understand, so they've got to work on that. So if I have, and this is the example I like to give. Let's say we've got a whiteboard or a blackboard or something, and I show you the letters R-O-W-K. R-O-W-K. Well, it doesn't mean anything, right? So you can't make sense of it. These elements are kind of separate. Yeah?
Yes.
But if I rearrange them and I put these letters into the order W-O-R-K, what happens?
Well, it certainly makes sense.
There's something else happens, is it becomes one thing. It's no longer a collection of individual things, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It becomes something else, and there is now a relationship between you and that thing. And that's why it's such a terrible thing, is that if you do it yourself, you're denying yourself the possibility of that. And if you just accept somebody else having ripped it from some CD or something, without the cover, without the text, without the whole experience, they are denying you the possibility of those experiences. A different experience may be possible, but that's not what I intended. And as I have been hinting at quite a few times in this conversation, intention is extremely important. Intention is a motor, you can say, but it also, the quality of intention is something which influences every aspect of the thing that you're doing. In certain practices, before you do the thing you're supposed to be doing, you explicitly say what your intention is. You don't just do something. You say, I'm going to do this because of this and this and this, and what I'm aiming to do is this. Now, you don't need to say it out loud. You don't need to tell anybody else, but to make it concrete for yourself is actually a very important technique. And this is another thread that does go through all of these things, as far as I'm concerned. So sound is something which it invites pattern seeking. Let's put it that way. When you see an abstract picture, no matter how used to the idea of abstract art you are, your brain is going to start looking for patterns. You're going to start to see, the patterns in the wallpaper, like I did when I was a child, and I'm sure many people did. Not so more because wallpaper is not very popular anymore, but used to lie in bed in the half light and look at the pictures look at the patterns in the wallpaper and see faces, and whole worlds used to develop. Well, it's the same with any abstract. Even if you're trying not to do it, we are pattern seeking animals. We look for patterns, and so hearing an abstract sound is no different.
The Hafler Trio cannot be summarized or reduced to a mere sonic project. It's many other things, and in this conversation we're trying to shed some light on various angles. And tonight I'd like to have a little bit of talk about the visual art, the visual aspect of the Hafler Trio.
I do a lot of preparation. I mean, I look at the word and I consider which way I'm going to do it. And it could take weeks before I will actually take the paper and do it. And even then, so you could throw out, 20 attempts to do it. And generally, it's going to be the one that you thought was the worst is going to be the best when you look at it the next morning. So it's a completely different ball game. Now, you see, the funny thing was that in the early days, before we had the computers and the technology and all this other kind of stuff to do the sound stuff, it was a bit like that too. But sound, of course, doesn't directly, when you start to make sounds and play with them, of course, it doesn't really directly refer to anything. If I, slow something down, or I chop it into pieces, or I layer it with some other sounds, and you have no idea what you're listening to, what produced that sound. And that, if you like, is the difference between me and a lot of other people, is that what seems to be random generally is not. And that goes, so to get all the way back to the sort of fundamentals of it, that goes to intention. That goes to the state that you are in when you produce this thing, like with the calligraphy. It's embedded in there somewhere. And due to my early experiences, my early negative experiences with this, as we just talked about, this whole using sounds where you don't know where they come from, the intention of the people who made those things may be completely at variance with what you want.